The 2007 FIFA U-20 World Cup was the 16th edition of the FIFA U-20 World Cup, hosted by Canada from June 30 to July 22, 2007. Argentina defeated Czech Republic in the title game by the score of 2-1, thus managing a back-to-back world title, its fifth in the past 7 editions, and sixth overall. Argentine player Sergio Agüero was given the FIFA U-20 Golden Shoe and the FIFA U-20 Golden Ball, while Japan earned the FIFA Fair Play Award. The tournament featured 24 teams coming from 6 continental confederations. Canada qualified automatically as hosts, while the remaining teams qualified based on their rankings at the respective continental U-20 tournaments. UEFA qualified 6 teams. AFC, CAF, CONCACAF and CONMEBOL 4 teams each. And OFC 1 team. The tournament took place in a variety of venues across the country: Toronto, Edmonton, Montreal, Ottawa, Victoria and Burnaby, with the Showcase Stadium being Toronto's new National Soccer Stadium where the final match was held. On June 28, 2007, 2 days before the inaugural match, it was reported that 950,000 tickets had been sold, making it the largest single sport event ever taking place in the country, and on July 3, the tournament organizers sold the 1 millionth ticket. On July 19, the semi-final match between Chile and Argentina marked this edition as the most attended in the tournament's history, with an accumulated attendance of 1,156,187 spectators, surpassing Mexico 1983's 1,155,160 spectators. Final attendance totaled 1,195,299. Venues, sponsorship, FIFA partners, Adidas, Emirates, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola Zero, Powerade. Sony, Sony Bravia, Sony Cybershot. Visa, Hyundai Motor Group, Kia Motors, Hyundai. National supporters, FIFA.com. Qualification: 23 teams qualified for the 2007 FIFA U-20 World Cup. As the host team, Canada received an automatic bid, bringing the total number of teams to 24 for the tournament. The draw for the group stages took place on March 3, 2007 in Liberty Grand Entertainment Complex, Toronto. Match officials, squads. For a list of the squads, see 2007 FIFA U-20 World Cup squads, group stage. The 24 participating teams were distributed between 6 groups of 4 teams each, according to a draw held on March 3, 2007. The groups are contested on a league system, where each team plays 1 time against the other teams in the same group, for a total of 6 matches per group. Each group winner and runner-up teams, as well as the best 4 third-placed teams, qualify for the first round of the knockout stage. Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, Group E, Group F. Ranking of third-placed teams, knockout stage, round of 16. Quarterfinals. Semi-finals. Third-place playoff. Final. Goal scorers: 6 goals, Sergio Agüero, 5 goals, Adrián La Cubed Pez, 4 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals, 1 goal, 1 own goal, Matthias Cardacio, winner. Awards: All-Star Team, compiled by Soccer 360 magazine after the tournament. Controversies: Nigerian accusations of racism. The Chile-Nigeria quarter-final match took place on FIFA's Say No to Racism Day. During extra time, Chile's Mauricio Isla scored at the 96th minute. The Nigerians argued that it was offside, though referee Howard Webb allowed the goal to stand. Replays showed that a defender was caught out of place on an offside trap. Keeper Ikuku was shown the yellow card for his protest. At a post-game news conference, Nigerian coach Ladan Basso said, "What happened on the pitch, the officiating, I think FIFA has a long way to go to beat racism, because that official showed racism." When asked if he felt Webb was a racist, Basso said only that it's good for FIFA to bring in the fight against racism, but they have to follow it to the letter, so the implementation will be done. The coach was fined 11,000 Swiss francs and banned for 4 months, as the disciplinary committee found him guilty of offensive behavior under the terms of Article 57 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code. The Nigerian FA was also sanctioned for allowing the players to wear T-shirts with religious statements under their game jerseys. This was a clear violation of the regulations of the tournament that state players and officials are not allowed to display political, religious, commercial or personal messages in any language or form on their playing or team kits. Chilean clash with police. On July 19, 2007, there was a very controversial semi-final match between Chile and Argentina. Referee Wolfgang Stark was criticized by the Chilean players for his officiating, having lost control of the match early, and for issuing 7 yellow cards and 2 red cards against the Chilean team during the match. In total he issued 53 fouls, 30 of which he charged to Chile. Chilean striker Nicolas Medina hinted that he felt that the referee was favoring the Argentine team, stating that 11 against 11, the game would have been much more fair. Added to this is the perception that the Argentine players were able to employ diving tactics and theatrics to influence the referee's calls. Following the match, Stark and his colleagues were surrounded by livid Chilean players who were restrained by members of the Toronto police. Stark then had to be escorted off of the pitch and into the dressing room tunnel by police officers for fear that he would be attacked by the crowd and/or Chilean players at the National Soccer Stadium. Afterwards, several players and delegates of the Chilean team were involved in a brawl with police outside Toronto's National Soccer Stadium, which ended with several Chileans injured, then handcuffed and detained inside the stadium. How the events unfolded is not unanimous, with 2 currently existing versions. Players' version, according to the Chilean players and some witnesses, at 10:22 p.m. Chilean player Isaías Peralta before getting on the team bus walked towards a crowd of Chilean fans stationed behind a security fence some 50 meters away from the bus, but was stopped by about 10 policemen some 30 meters away from the fence. A heated discussion took place, where Peralta was verbally and physically abused by the policemen. Peralta was tasered by one police officer and he lost consciousness for 20 minutes. Chilean player Arturo Vidal arrived at the scene to help his teammate and got involved in a struggle with the police. Other eyewitnesses stated it was Chilean goalkeeper Christopher Toselli who walked towards the fans when he was grabbed by a security guard, prompting the melee. This was noticed by the other players inside the bus, who also got involved in the struggle with the police. All players except Peralta, who lay unconscious on the ground got back on the bus and closed the doors to keep the police out. A policewoman noticed this and threw a tear gas canister inside the bus. The players panicked and started breaking windows to let air in. 3 minutes later the president of the Chilean National Association of Professional Football, Harold Main Nichols, asked the players to descend from the bus to take a different one. As the players were getting off the bus they were violently detained by police. Some players were even handcuffed. Alexis Rnchez, who was coming out of the anti-doping test heard some people screaming and arrived at the scene, but was also beaten by police. The police then took the players back to the stadium. Christian Suarez arriving from the mixed zone was also detained. Peralta claimed that after he regained consciousness, "I saw 10 police officers were hitting me and throwing acid in my face." And also claimed the police removed an object the size of a match from his back so the press wouldn't be able to see it. Other Chilean players said to the Chilean press that the Canadian police treated them like criminals, used pepper spray and tasers on them, threatened them with legal action, and that while they were on the team's dressing room showing each other's wounds, they were laughed at. During the Sunday final Main Nichols who is also a FIFA official allegedly identified the policeman who gave the order to use gas on the players and asked him why he had acted that way. Main Nichols claimed the policeman responded, "We use gas and electricity when we deal with criminals like yours." Police version. The police version of the events, as given by Toronto Police Chief Bill Blair, claimed that the melee began when Chilean players got into a scuffle with a rival fan. He added that members of the Chilean team then decided to direct some of their aggressive behavior towards my officers. The job of my officers was to respond in a firm, but fair, manner to end that violence. They are trained to do so, and that is what they did. According to eyewitness accounts, the players on the bus began throwing things at police through the windows and tried to grab officers from inside the damaged bus. FIFA spokesman John Schumacher said, "The Chilean players were detained by the police to de-escalate the situation that was taking place in front of the stadium." Eyewitness accounts stated that the altercation began as the Chilean players were heading to their bus, across the driveway from the doors of the stadium. There was apparently yelling near the bus, and then a scuffle erupted. Nathan Dennett, a reporter for Canadian press stated, "Next thing you know, the bus just unloads and there's 8-10 players come off the bus and there's just fists flying everywhere, between the cops, the security guards, a couple of ladies were involved that was security." As the conflict became more heated, a police officer did use a taser, though it was unclear if it was used on a player or an official with the Chilean team, after which the brawl became even more intense. It was also asserted that any bruises sustained by anyone involved were tiny. Press shut out. The Chilean press alleged that all press were removed from the area by security personnel since the incident start, threatened with the removal of their tapes if they recorded anything, and locked inside a room for several minutes. Aftermath: 10 Chilean team members were detained over 3 hours and then released without charges. FIFA President Sepp Blatter said the next day at a press conference in Toronto that the incident was regrettable, and that he apologized in the name of FIFA. The ANFP hired a Toronto law firm to pursue legal action against the Toronto police. In Chile, the incident was on the front page of every major newspaper. The Canadian embassy in Santiago received a bomb threat, and angry Chileans protested outside the embassy with signs reading "Racist Canada." Chile's president, Michelle Bachelet, said that the incident was especially serious because, in our opinion, the Chilean delegation suffered unjustified aggression, and lodged a formal protest with the Canadian government. In response, Canadian Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, remarked that international soccer matches are hotly contested and often become very emotional. "As you know, there are processes in Canada by which the authorities review these kinds of incidents, and I don't intend to comment further." It was reported in the Canadian media on July 30, 2007, that Islas Peralta had confessed to Santiago's El Mercurio that one of the Chilean team members had punched a female police officer in the face before Peralta had been tasered, but maintained that the Toronto police had assaulted the Chilean team members before they retaliated. The following day, Peralta denied making the comments. Police spokesperson Mark Pugash affirmed a female officer had been hit in the face, and stated the Chileans' violent behavior prompted police to use tasers and pepper spray, upholding the story that the Chileans had started the mala copyright by confronting an Argentine fan. After an internal review headed by Superintendent Jim Ramiro, in which witnesses, including event security officials, members of the Ontario Soccer Association, the BMO field event coordinator, and the driver of the Chilean bus, offered statements, a report issued by the Toronto Police Service on July 31, 2007, found that officers had acted professionally and with an immense amount of restraint during the conflict outside the BMO field, in which Chilean players punched, kicked, spat on and kicked police and security staff. The report stated that the violence started when two people not involved in the game confronted each other. Security guards first attempted to intervene, and then police, which is when a Chilean player punched a female police officer in the face. From that point, the report said the violence escalated. Chilean players dismantled the armrests and footrests from the bus seats, and smashed the windows in order to spit at and throw these objects, plus diesel batteries, clothes hangers, and cans of deodorant at the police. 4 officers were reportedly injured by projectiles. FIFA agreed to pay for the $35,000 in damages to the team's rented bus. Harold Main Nichols, chair of the Football Federation of Chile and a witness to the event, said, "I didn't see any Chilean player hitting any officer except between all the struggling." Patricio Bascunan, president of the Salvador Cultural Society of Toronto, said an independent review was needed. Disciplinary measures: Chile's Jaime Grondona was suspended for 9 months at all levels and fined 7,000 Swiss francs for assaulting match officials. The Chilean Football Association was fined 15,000 Swiss francs for team misconduct. See also, Canadian Soccer Association, 2007 FIFA U-17 World Cup, references. External links, FIFA U-20 World Cup Canada 2007, FIFA.com, Canada Soccer Association Euro U-20 World Cup 2007.